I am live and hopefully the sound works today because I had loads of fun with this yesterday. So I want to talk this morning about automated outreach on LinkedIn because this kind of does my head in. It really does my head in. And if you're watching, if you're joining, say hello in the chat. Be great to say hello to everybody. But automated outreach, I want to kind of automated outreach does my head in. And I'm going to tell you why it does my head in. It doesn't do my head in from the point of view of, right. So let me just unpack why automated outreach is a bad idea. There are great things you can do with automation. Hi, Tony. Good morning, Tony. And there's great things you can do with automation. Simple tasks you can, Mike, morning. The simple tasks you can automate. Yeah, absolutely. There's simple tasks you can automate. But, automated outreach is in most cases, 90% of cases is an absolute joke. And I'll tell you why, particularly on LinkedIn. And I'm going to tell you why. Morning, David. I'll tell you why automated outreach, as in sales pitch messages, is a terrible idea. So one of the things, I get tons of these, by the way, tons of them every day, a lot of them from my competitors. And it actually gets me angry, not because competitors are doing it, because it actually propagates this theory that you can do this and it works. So let me give you some reasons why automated outreach is a terrible idea. So the first thing is, when you're doing automated outreach on LinkedIn, you go to Sales Navigator, put all your criteria in to find the people. Yeah. So you go on, you find all the people you want to message, you want to connect with. There is always, I don't know whether LinkedIn does this on purpose or not, but there's always rogues in there. So I'll give you an example, right? I support a microfinance charity. So we put some money into the microfinance charity. They lend it interest-free to people in developing countries to start a business. So I do this and basically the money recycles. So somebody will pay it back and it'll go to somebody else and then it goes to somebody else. So that basically people, instead of just giving donations, people are building their own business. So it shows me on my LinkedIn profile as an investor in this organization. So I get tons of people messaging me for crypto investments and business investments, which is totally irrelevant. Why? Because sometimes the criteria in Sales Navigator isn't tight enough. And I'll give you an example. Hi, Nasrin. Hi, Mayada. I'll give you another example of why sales automation doesn't work. I get messages from LinkedIn lead generation people saying that they can help me grow my business on social media, right? It makes them look like absolute idiots. Absolute idiots. If somebody's sending you irrelevant messages, it's like they're definitely using automation. And so what happens is their name, they look silly. So if you're using automation, it will make you look silly unless you vet every single person you're going to automate your outreach to. So you think about it and go, I'm going to vet every single person. I might as well do it flipping manually. Yeah. Hi, Oscar. I might as well do it flipping manually. But we have this attitude that actually, no, we'll just churn through them. And it's like, really? Is that what sales is? Where's the skill? Where's the sophistication in this? So there's that element of actually the targeting is just really poor, because I think Sales Navigator does this on purpose. So if you've got multiple roles on your profile, sometimes in the search, it will show you Dean Seddon is the CEO of a company with 50 employees, but it'll show the company name as Lend with Care, which is the charity I support. So I got one yesterday. Hey, Dean, great what you're building with Lend with Care, and you've got a great team behind you. Should we have a call? And I'm like, immediately, I know the person hasn't taken the time to invest in looking at me and researching and adding value to me. That's one thing I see. So the personalization is just not good enough. Not if you're coming from just a Sales Navigator search, you have to research. But then when I look at the messages, you can tell, like my company name has a reserve symbol at the end of it on LinkedIn. So when I get messages with the reserve symbol, which you would never write, I immediately know this is automated. So what are we saying to our prospects? If you're selling a 500 quid thing or a 50 quid thing, you may go, I don't really care. It's numbers. But if you're selling a 5-10 grand thing, how many people will go, oh, it's just automated and ignore it? How many people will just ignore it? I ignore a lot of messages. In fact, no, most of them I go back to them and try and sell them back because I think, well, fair enough. So a lot of sales automation is just rubbish. But because it's something that can do it without us, we have this kind of like, oh, this is going to change our world. This is going to be fantastic. And it's like, no, it doesn't. They're not really a competitor. One of my competitors, I'll say they're competitors, they publish their stats. And their stats show that from outreach, cold outreach, bulk automated cold outreach, not manual, not well researched, none of that. For every 400 messages or emails you send, every 400 you'll get 3 leads. 400 messages, 3 leads. So you might think, well, it's 400 messages, 3 leads. Each lead is worth 5-10 grand. So, okay, 5-10 grand, do the maths. That comes out at, if I convert half of them, that comes out at 10 or 20 grand or something like that. So 20 grand for 400 messages seems all right to me. Good trade. But that's efficiency in the wrong. That's like, it's shit. It's shit. So you look at this and go, is this where we are? That we have to sell by playing numbers like this? I get these stupid ones like, emails, and I'm like, that's called pattern interrupt? No, it's called you being an idiot. It's being a joke. Any serious company, if you send that to a serious company, they're going to look at you and go, what the hell is this? What the hell is this? I'm not against cold outreach. Not at all, actually. I'm not against cold calling. What I'm against is unresearched, unfocused outreach where there's no relevance. I do a little bit of cold outreach, but anybody I'm going to cold outreach, I will do some research first, because my reputation's on the line. I don't want somebody turning around and going, oh, piss off, Maverick, you annoying the hell out of me. Of course, that'll happen sometimes. I got somebody complaining. Talk about LinkedIn. I got somebody complained to us a few weeks ago. Listen to this. You're going to love this. They sent this stroppy complaint. So, stroppy complaint into the company. I did not consent to you putting your content in my feed. That's a breach of GDPR. I'm like, what? Yeah, they were complaining about how visible I was on LinkedIn, and it was annoying them in their feed. And they felt that that was a breach of GDPR. Now, you can't make it up, really, can you? I mean, there's some people, it's just like nuts. But it does bring me to another point. And I don't think anybody has thought of this point. If you go to the ICO and ask them about direct messaging, ask them about direct. Any company owners, business owners here, bear this in mind. Good morning, Chetan. Bear this in, right? Are you ready for this? If you go to the Information Commissioner and ask them about what happens if somebody removes you, blocks you, or reports you, says, no, thanks, I'm not interested on social media, what does that mean? Technically, by the letter of the law, you have to remove them from your database completely on email, phone, the works. And I don't think people have been thinking about this in the long term here. Let's say I'm churning numbers through automation, unresearched, which is what most people are doing. They're just getting a list together and smashing it out, right? Let's say, for an example, I do that, get a list from Sales Navigator and just smash out messages, and people say, do not send me any more messages, do not communicate with me again, I'm not interested. Your legitimate interest under the law has just gone. Your justification for engaging with them is gone. Now, if they ignore you, you can carry on. If they ignore you, you can carry on. But if they tell you they're not interested, by the letter of the law, go ask the ICO, they'll give you written advice on this. By the letter of the law, you have to not contact them again. So let me give you a scenario. Some of you doing cold outreach on email with lists churning and burning, they unsubscribe here. How are you going to protect yourself from hitting them up again on LinkedIn? This is a real issue. It's a real issue that's ongoing. And so some companies are literally, I get one company hits me up, I remove myself from the database, and because I'm not, I was going to swear, but because I'm not one of those stupid people who go obsessed about stuff like GDPR stuff, I don't do anything with it. But every month a different rep will hit me up and I'll say, I've already removed myself from the database. Why? Because there's no way for you to prevent yourself from hitting the same people up. If you have multiple people, there's no way to stop it. No way to stop it. So I get one company, they hit me up on LinkedIn with one account manager or SDR, and then next month another SDR comes at me from that same company. Letter of the law, I could get them for it. I could probably go after them for it. Yeah. Will I? Probably not, because I know that most people are just trying to earn a living. But I just think, do you know what? I got one this morning from a LinkedIn lead generation message, LinkedIn lead generation, and it's quite clear they don't have a clue what they're doing. They are just firing out numbers. And the worst thing is, some companies want people to do this. They just want numbers because they think that's the answer. And it really isn't. It really isn't. Because all that happens is the automation messes up because you can't perfect it. And anybody who tells you that they can is telling fibs. You have to get the data right. And Sales Navigator doesn't always give you the data right. So you could do a search on Sales Navigator and it would throw up Dean Seddon, contributor at Forbes. And they say, hey, I'm trying to talk to more marketing agency owners. And I spotted you've been you've been the CEO. I've had this CEO at Forbes. Why? Because the title, the company name got jumbled up. And this isn't about the technology. This is about Sales Navigator itself. Sometimes I think LinkedIn does this on purpose, is it throws stuff up just to make the automation clunky and difficult. So hopefully I'm not boring you here. But what I would warn you against is if you use automation for outreach, I'm not going to get into the applications for outreach because LinkedIn says it's a no-no, and if they catch you, they will ban you. And I've actually met people who've been banned for life. Yeah, real human beings who cannot get a LinkedIn account anymore. And what they end up doing is creating an account in their another family member's names to get back onto the platform. Why? Aggressive automation. And LinkedIn says don't do it. People still do it, but for me, the outreach element of automation is just not good enough. It's just not targeted enough. It's just not researched enough. I think the problem is the data. People don't spend the time researching the data. If you went, okay, I'll just give you an example, a hypothetical. Let's do cold outreach on email. You went through a list of 100 people and really researched them so you could put a compelling email together. Then guess what? You can put something that's compelling together and probably automate it if you've researched the businesses and you've got key, that really tight research. You could put a compelling automated message together. But the time it took you to do that research, you could have done it manually. Then I look at, and I said this about content yesterday, a lot of content looks like ads. We've trained ourselves to see and spot ads, right? We know it. We can see it. We see it in the feed when corporate marketing comes along. We know it's marketing, and look at your inbox and look at your LinkedIn messages. You can tell which ones are automated and which aren't. So whilst we might go and read it, there is this thing happening in the back of our heads as prospects going, a little bit, this was automated. It wasn't really for me. And the other thing about this is at any given time, maybe 3-4% of your target audience are actually looking for what you're selling. 3-4%. So if you think about it, people say, oh, cold email success rates have been falling, and they have. According to the data I'm seeing, they have been falling, primarily because of the research, I think. DMs on LinkedIn, success rate's been falling. Why? Because so many people have jumped on the bandwagon of sending irrelevant stuff. We're programming people. We're programming our prospects to go, my DMs are full of junk. My DMs are full of junk. So here's how I approach this. I've got no problem with cold outreach. The only problem I have with automated cold outreach is it helps our prospects learn that most of the emails they get from people are automated. They didn't spend the time, and it's junk. So when I tell people they want a cold outreach or they want to, cold message some prospects on LinkedIn, I don't say don't do it, but I say do everything you possibly can to make it as relevant as possible so that you don't get put into that camp of this is automated, this is junk. And so I forcefully help my clients say, if you do that, your success rate will be very, very low. Yeah, and don't get me started on this just following up crap. Everybody's using the same templates. That's the problem. Everybody's using the same templates, so every message reads the same way. This is a problem when everybody jumps on a bandwagon. If everybody jumps on a bandwagon, everything is the same and we get used to it. The edge of it is gone. The edge of it is gone. A bit like, for an example, I'm going on holiday. Well, hopefully I'm going on holiday soon. I don't know whether I'll actually get a flight these days because of what's going on. But let's imagine I book a flight with EasyJet and I go, do you know what? I don't want to wait in the queue. I'm going to get speedy boarding. I'll jump ahead of the queue. So I pay the extra to get speedy boarding. And then EasyJet goes, do you know what? This speedy boarding is a great thing. Let's let other people get it. So then half the plane books speedy boarding. My queue is massive. It wasn't worth doing. You might think, what's he talking about? It's 7 o'clock in the morning or 7:30 or 7:45 in the morning. Think about it. If everybody's doing automated messages, everybody's doing, effectively, you have to genericize to make a message. And some people think personalization is just putting their name in it or a customized image with their name in it. That's a gimmick. That's not real personalized. Real personalization is when you can speak to an audience with some relevance. Yeah, not just a distraction piece. Yes, a distraction piece will get them to go, what's this? But fundamentally, you need to be relevant. So that's why the research becomes important. So if you're not relevant, you're basically in the mess of everybody else, the noise. And you've got to get out. If you want to make any kind of outreach work, you've got to make sure that you're different. And given everybody is automating outreach, as you'll see in your inbox, as you'll see in your LinkedIn mailbox, as you'll see everywhere you go on social media, different platforms, you'll see it. If you want to be different, you have to do something different. And actually, I'm advocating automate simple stuff wherever you want to do it. I got no problem with automating simple stuff. But whenever you're interacting with a human being, if you're automating it, the success, you're going to have to accept the success rate could be poor, like 98, 99% failure rate. By that, I mean 99% failure rate of actual money in the bank revenue, 99% failure rate. So you're doing it for 1% success. It just doesn't make sense, because the numbers you'll have to churn to get through it will actually, you're going to burn through a lot of people. You're going to annoy a lot of people. So take what you will from this, but my key message is, if you are using automated outreach on whatever platform, be aware that if you don't research your data, it will make you look foolish. It will make you look like everybody else, and it will end up looking like a template, and we can all spot a template. So hopefully I haven't upset too many people. I'm just trying to help you do better at this. And if you want to keep doing the automation thing, if you get a better result than 1% success, and by success I mean money in the bank, I don't mean leads, because if you have a lead that doesn't convert, there's no success in that. So yeah, one more point before I finish. One of the big things about the automation game in cold outreach, particularly on LinkedIn, you can tell it, and this is something people miss, right, is the speed of reply. So when you send a message, you're sending it at certain times, and people come back at other times. They come back, right? I've replied to a few people, and it's taken them days to reply to me. Days. Now, I'm super active on LinkedIn all the time. So I'm there all the time. Your prospects aren't there all the time like me. And you're not there all the time because you've got a bot doing everything for you. So you've checked out. So if it takes you 4 hours, 6 hours, 2 days, 1 day to reply, guess what? That prospect might have checked out. They might have checked out, replied to you, checked out, and then you come back to try and bring them back to life. And guess what? They don't reply again. Why? You've lost your opportunity because you weren't owning your own inbox. Now, this might be a tough pill to swallow in our automation age and our technology age, but until humans are replaced by robots, they are absolute buggers, because they don't do as you want. They just do things the way they want. And unfortunately, automation will do things the way you want, but the other side, when the human responds on that side, you've got to be ready. Within 20 minutes, you want to be replying back. Within 20 minutes. So that's my 2 cents on automation of cold sales pitch messages. I don't think they work. I don't think they're very effective. They cause more problems for you than they do results. And I'm not against cold outreach per se, if it's well researched and if it's well researched and it's relevant. But that requires effort of a human being to check the people they're outreaching to. David, I'll come to your question in a sec. That requires your research. You need to research. David's asked, what do you think of sending cold contacts a very short video intro? Oh, good question. Good question. I'll tell you what I do, because obviously I'm connecting with people and growing my network because I want to do business with them. Absolutely, right? So I'm not just sat here going, oh, I just use LinkedIn to amplify my voice. I want to do business with people. So what I do is I will go, somebody's connected with me. I want to give them a bit of time to get to know me. I don't really want to be that person who's seen as just diving on people, the connect and pitch crowd. I just think that's not how business is done. Business is relationships. Yeah. It's how people work together. It's win-wins for everybody. That's how it works. So I want to mirror that in how I approach people. So what I'll do is I'll connect with somebody and I'll probably engage with them first. I'll comment on some of their posts and stuff like that deliberately because I know I want to do business with them. They're in my target audience of clients. I'll engage with them, interact with them. If they accept me, I'll do a real low-key thank you message. Low-key, I won't say too much. I might give them, might, write a message and put a little like link on the bottom, low-key. I do that, and I would want them to see my content a little bit because, and I think I shared this in a post the other day, if you've been connected with somebody for more than 7 days, they're more likely to respond to your message. And if you've interacted with them for 4 to 5 times, they're more likely to reply to your message because you've made yourself a little bit more noticeable, a bit more different. So if they've seen my content, if they've seen me interact and I've interacted with them, they're going to be more likely to respond down the line. So what I do at the thank you stage is I do a really low-key thank you. Why? Because at that point, I don't want to give them any wrong impression of me that sticks in their mind. And I don't want something above, if you think about messaging, I don't want something above that could potentially go, I'm going to ignore that. Or it looked like they're trying again because the first one didn't work. So that's the way I approach it. So I'm looking for how long have they been connected? The longer, the better. So there's some people I'm connecting with no plans to outreach to them for like 3 to 6 months. There's other people that I connected with 6 months ago that are now at the point where I'm going to talk to them. But at least 7 days you want to do it. So I'll do a very low-key outreach, engage with them a little bit, a low-key thank you, engage with them a little bit, and then ask them a question or have a little conversation in the messages. I'm really not up for doing too much at the beginning. That said, I have had some people who've sent me a video after connecting, like a Loom video, and it's been really relevant. So David, if it was David to Dean, hi Dean, that might be okay. The key thing is I don't want to kind of pitch them at that point because I don't want them to make a decision at that point because they know nothing about me. They don't know what I'm like. They don't know my value. They don't know anything. So yeah, I do an intro, maybe low-key intro. That would be okay. But I wouldn't do any kind of call to action in that message because if I did, I'm basically saying, if they say no thanks, I'm done. At least for a while, because otherwise it looks like I'm not taking no for an answer. So that's my 2 cents on it. Right, I'm going to shut up. Thank you so much for joining me. If we're not connected or what have you, and you're seeing this, you can follow me, or and if you want to see more of my ramblings, but I do put out some content that will help you in terms of growing your business through social media. Follow me and hit the bell on my profile so you get notified when I'm going live or when I'm sharing new stuff. But yes, automated cold outreach, I just think it needs better research. And then you go, well, why don't I do it manually? Right. Have a great weekend, everybody.